Welcome back to Boomer's Playground, and today we're going to be doing step 2 of the drag light reaction timer project that I wanted to show you guys. So I think something that's kind of interesting is I know I was kind of teaching along the way on that first video, but look how basic of a setup this is. And that video was 22 minutes long pretty much. So let's take out, what, 3, maybe 5 minutes for teaching. That's probably even high. So we're still sitting at, almost 20 minutes to build this basic little thing. And I only bring that up because, when I was still on the Colt Steel Discord, but like on, Reddit or Stack Overflow or even the couple smaller Discords that I'm a part of now, people will come in and they'll be like, oh my God, man, like I searched and tried for 30 minutes. And I know that may seem like an eternity when you're first starting, but when you get to the job, like there have been, half days to multiple days for me solving one problem. So don't think just because you couldn't get it in, 15 or 30 or whatever time you've made up in your mind, which would be too much. The stuff just takes a long time, and that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's the only reason I brought that up. So, okay, so back to the little video we have here. Or sorry, not the video, but the project. We've got our things here. We click start. They all illuminate at the same time. All right. That's a good start, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to illuminate them in a random order or a random amount of time. We don't want to just do like 1 second, because then as people do it, they may catch on to that and they kind of cheat a little bit and, try and time it just perfectly where they hit the spacebar to get a better reaction time. We want the times that these illuminate at to be relatively random or relatively arbitrary. So, we have, what the heck? There we go. So we have this, on the start click, we're just immediately turning them all to, full opacity. So we don't want that. So what do we really want to do? Well, let's see if we can find a quick Google search here. If I can get to the right tab. Run something after a random amount of time, JS. And it's a random number. All right, let's see what these look like. All right, so set timeout and set interval. Set timeout allows us to run a function once after the interval of time. That sounds promising. Set interval allows us to run a function repeatedly starting after the interval of time. So we do want to run a couple different functions, but we don't want to repeatedly do it. We really only have 3, and we really only have 2. We only want to do the red one if somebody was like too quick on the gun. So I think set timeout is going to be our best option. So let's do set timeout JS, and we'll do MDN. Again, I said this many times, I prefer you guys to start with MDN. And then if that doesn't make a whole lot of sense or you're having trouble understanding it, which again is perfectly fine, the MDN docs are awesome, but they were written by developers or by engineers, so it may not be super user-friendly at the beginning. But please start there. And then if you're going through it and you're just like, this makes no sense to me, then go ahead and go to W3 Schools. They tend to be a little more user-friendly. Go here, look, oh, piece of cake. And then go back to MDN and try and like figure out where the disconnect was, because when you start building bigger projects and bigger apps, the extra information that you get from MDN is so helpful, but you won't know that until you get further into the path. So please try and do that stuff. But for this instance, we can just stick with W3 Schools. And so this says wait 5 seconds for the greeting. All right, so let's see. My greeting, well, I guess we don't know what my greeting is. All right. Oh, so that's just a function. Okay, cool. All right, so let's try this. So we know we have the set timeout. We know we have a function, and then we give it the time. So I don't necessarily want to build my own function per se. So if we do set timeout, it wants a function, so we can give it that. And what do we want to do? Let's just do console log what is up, and let's wait for 2 seconds, just so it's long enough for us to kind of see that it didn't run right away, but not too long that you guys are sitting here for 50 freaking minutes watching the video. All right, cool. So don't worry about that. That's just, I don't have a favicon, which is the little icon right there, so who cares? All right, so ideally what will happen is we'll click this start the race button, and in 2 seconds we'll get a console log. So let's see if that's what happens. Okay, I would say it was about 2 seconds. The one thing with set timeout is you can give it this 2 seconds, and if it's available to run at that time, it will. But one caveat to this is there's a thing called the heap and the stack. And if something is in the way of this running, it could take longer than 2 seconds. So just kind of keep that in mind. Set timeout usually isn't the best idea for something that is time related, but that's a whole nother story. This did what we wanted it to do. So let's actually do this. So we had, what did we have? We had style.opacity equals 1. So if we do this, we click the button, that should feasibly turn the yellow light or the yellow circle to look like it's on after 2 seconds. So let's see if that works. Okay, and it didn't. So let's see what we did wrong. Yellow is not defined, and that's because it's yellow circle, not yellow. So let's try this again. Okay, cool. So I don't know, I'm not sure the quality of the screen that you guys are using, but let's actually do, let's do 20. Let's just make it like super obvious. Okay, so now they're like very, very opaque, and then, okay, I think that's a little better. That's a little more striking. You can clearly tell that happened. So, okay, awesome. So we have that, but again, this is a set amount of time. We don't want that. We want something random. So I guess another thing I probably should have said, if you read through the docs, that the number at the end here is in milliseconds. And so that's why 2000 led to being 2 seconds, because that's 2000 milliseconds. All right. Okay, so we kind of have that in place, and we can, we can really do this with all of them. Again, this isn't going to be super helpful because we want this to be random between the bunch of them, but let's just make sure it works. That's another thing I see a lot of people do is they'll build these huge implementations and wait till the end to try it. Like, I try stuff so in like such small quantities to make sure I'm on the right path. That way when it breaks, I have a smaller window that I know, like, okay, I touched 3 things. I can look at those 3 things to figure out what I broke, opposed to I touched all 1,000 files, which one happened. So that's just me. Do whatever you want to do, but okay, cool. So again, it's working how we kind of want, but we don't want them to run at the same time. So let's see here. All right, what can we do? So let's figure out how to get a random time. Get random time in JS. I don't want a date. I just want, all right. All right, so we get math.random. So this will give us a number between 0 and 10. This will give us a number between 0 and 100. And one thing that it's not specifically stating is it's between 0 and 100, but it will never be this top number because math.random gives you a number from 0 to right up to the number 1, but will never give you the number 1. So in this instance here, they add 1 at the end so that they will get 1 up to 10. So this is a little confusing for some people, and if you guys want more clarification, leave comments in the comment section below. But this is something you'll do a lot, and it's just something you just kind of get used to. So I think we do want a number from 1 up to another time frame, but I actually want it to be 1 second, not just 1, because 1 will be 1 millisecond. So if we do 1 here, as soon as I hit this start button, these things are going to turn. So I really want something between, what do we want to do? We'll do 1 and 3 seconds just to kind of, shake it up a little bit. So what we could just do it. Oh, what did I just do? We could just do it right in here and do, we do math.floor, and then we could do math.random times, what do we say, 3? So we'll do 3,000, or no, we'll do, yeah. And then we'll do plus 1,000. And this way we're starting at 1 second, so we can go anywhere from 1 second to 3 seconds. And so we'll see here, we'll just wait. And that was a random time. 1, 2, 3. All right, that was a random time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe it's not a random time. So I'm at the floor times that plus 1,000. I wonder if we should do, I don't think this is doing what I want it to do. So let's get the random time. We'll do random time, and let's do math.floor, we'll do math.random, and let's just do 3 plus the 1. And so that feasibly should give us 1 up to 3. So let's find out. Right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So we do get 1, 2, 3. So that is what we want. And then let's times that by 1,000. So now we're going to get, ideally, 1,000 to 3,000. And actually, oh no, yeah, because it'll be, oh, that's my bad. All right, so we're going to do this. All right, cool. So there we get 2,000, we get 2,000, we get 1,000, we get 2,000, we get 1,000, and 3,000. Cool. So we do get them all. This is fine. It's 1, 2, or 3 seconds, which is okay. But you might want to do like, maybe not do the floor aspect, and then that way we'll get kind of these times in between full seconds. So if we do, so if you just do math.random times 3, we're always going to get like some crazy decimal point. And so ideally what we could do is, if we didn't want to have just like full seconds, we could do times 1,000, and now we're going to get 2.5 seconds. And actually maybe that's a better way to go about this. Let's get rid of the floor. And then this way we're going to get a little more, we'll get anything from 1 second up to 3 seconds, but it could be any iteration, 2.24 seconds or 2.75 or kind of these random times. And so let's do that. And then we can do is let's just make sure we're getting different random stuff. And then what we'll do is we'll just call random time here. Again, it looks like I'm getting an error missing on line 7. Was that 7? Yeah, line 7. All right, so we got that. So math.random. Oh, I have some weird. All right. So we're at const random time. When something's that small, I will oftentimes just get rid of it instead of trying to like figure out, oh, where was my thing broken? Or which paren was I missing? Times 3 times 1,000. And I actually think because this is the order of operations, we should still be fine. We don't need any extra parens. Let's get rid of this guy. All right. Okay, did you see how quick that went? Because it was only half of a second. And that was a lot longer because that was 2.2 seconds. So I think I like that a little better because it's a pretty, there's like almost an endless amount of times that we could possibly have to do these things. So let's do that. And I'm trying to think of the best way to implement this. And I'm really thinking, because we don't want to set. All right, so that cut in the video is because I'm watching my buddy's dogs and they just went nuts because somebody drove by the street because they're dogs. So, all right, so back to this. So we're at a point now, we're getting random times for those things to illuminate. But now the problem is we don't want to start the timer on the green one until the yellow one's done. So what I'm thinking is let's create some functions to kind of control those. That way we can call the function of start green timer at the end of when the yellow timer is done. So let's do this. So we have that, and let's do we'll do start yellow timer, and we're not going to need any parameters or arguments for this stuff. All right, so from here, so we can kind of steal this. And when we click the button, we can call start yellow timer, which is awesome. And then in here, we'll do this. And so what'll happen now is we're going to create some random amount of time between pretty much 0 and almost 3 seconds. And then we're going to do a set timeout, that just says, hey, do this after this amount of time. So what we could really do is we could do this and then do start the green timer, because now this code is only going to run after this amount of time, which is kind of exactly what we want. So we can kind of steal that, and then we'll do const start green timer. And I'm not sure if we're going to get an error for this being underneath it, but let's find out. And then we can really just do the same thing. And so let's see, const red time, or random time, sorry. And then here we'll make it green. And then here we won't really do anything there. But let's see what we get. Let's see if this thing errors on us or not. Oh, how many yellow timers do I have? Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Oh, because I did. Oh yeah, sorry, that's my bad. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I had the start yellow timer, and I did the start yellow timer there when it really should have been start yellow timer. And that's it. This is just because this is in the button click. All right. And actually, let's do this. I want to do, I'm a big console log fan. This is the easiest way. I know there are other ways. There's the debugger tool. This is just what works for me. And so here we'll do out. I'll do yellow out, and that will just let me know that we're outside of the timer. Here I'll do We'll do yellow in, and then I'll just do the same exact things here. I'll do green out, and we'll do... And again, this is just to make sure that every step of this is running kind of how we want it to, so... Okay, so we got yellow out, yellow in. And then I know it's kind of tough because you're watching the console, but you're also watching these up here. But they coincided when this turned on, we got the yellow in, and then same with that green. Okay, cool. So I think we're at a pretty good spot here. We still have a little bit of implementation to consider, but I think this is a good start. We now know how to pseudo-randomly generate that circle or that light kind of illuminating. And this is a great next step into this project. And so I think I'm going to cut it off here. And then I think the next step, we're in a spot where we can kind of figure the rest of it out. And this is where it'll kind of get tricky because we have to keep track of when we stop or when the green illuminates and when the person clicks the button. So I think that'll be the next fun part. Again, as always, questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.